Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, March 2nd. A major storm is intensifying off the Mid-Atlantic coastline at this hour. It is trying to move to the north, but running into that atmospheric brick wall that we've been talking about for the past several days. High latitude blocking has set up over Greenland, northern Canada. That will force this storm to grind to a halt in its northward push and then come back down to the south over the next several hours, and all of that will extend the time period for the impact of this storm well into tonight. We'll have strong winds all day today into tonight, and even for the early part of Saturday there will be strong winds in the I-95 corridor. Already wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour in the D.C. metro region, with trees downed. Power outages are certainly being reported already, and the threat for numerous power outages is real today, all the way from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City throughout the I-95 corridor. The worst time for the winds in Philadelphia and New York City will be late this morning, and especially this afternoon into the early evening. In D.C., it's really happening right now. For the next several hours will be the brunt of the extreme wind event down in the D.C. metro region. In terms of precipitation, some snow shower activity mixed with sleet and rain at times down in the D.C. metro region right now, but again, the biggest factor down there will be the winds. Now, from Philadelphia north to New York City, throughout New Jersey, there certainly can be a changeover to wind-whipped snow later this morning into the afternoon hours, with a few inches of accumulation possible. Any snow that falls will increase the chances for power outages because it will be heavy, wet snow and will cling to the wet tree limbs and weigh them down, and that will not help the situation at all. And again, I think there could be wind-whipped snow later today from Philadelphia across the southern New Jersey all the way up to New York City, and a few inches of snow. Wind-whipped snow accumulation is possible in those particular areas. This is a map from poweroutage.us. Can't verify its accuracy, but it's certainly giving us a snapshot of what's going on right now. First of all, we've had power outages overnight in places like Michigan and Ohio. They had several inches of snow from Detroit to northern Ohio to Buffalo, for example, and very strong winds in those areas as well, and power outages. Power outages, again, already starting to happen and pile up across the D.C. metro region, Virginia and Maryland, and that will extend into Pennsylvania, New Jersey over the next several hours. Again, right now is the brunt of the high wind event in the D.C. metro region for the next several hours. In Philadelphia, New York City, New Jersey, it'll occur mainly during the afternoon and early evening hours. Well, let's take a look at the latest observations, and right now that storm system is off the Mid-Atlantic coastline, and this region right in here, it is trying to move to the north. But by the time it gets to Long Island, southern New England, it'll run into that brick wall thanks to that high latitude blocking setting up to the north, a very, very strong high latitude blocking. That will cause this storm to eventually drop back down to the south and east later on today, going into tonight. And when that happens, that push to the south, colder air will also push to the south. And it's already starting to change over to snow in and around the New York City metro region. And that southward push of the colder air will cause a changeover in the Philadelphia metro region and throughout New Jersey over the next several hours. And again, a few inches of snow are possible in Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, central New Jersey, northern New Jersey, across to New York City, and it'll be a wind-whipped snow. And again, it is a big concern because it will only exacerbate the potential for power outages. Any kind of snowfall that does occur later on today will, of course, weigh down the tree limbs because they're wet right now, and this will be a heavy, wet snow, and it'll just weigh those down and increase chances for some downed limbs and downed trees. And again, right now in the D.C. metro region, snow is not the big factor from this storm by any means. It's the extreme winds. Already reports of 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Would not be surprised to see a 70 mile per hour wind gust reported somewhere around the D.C. metro region over the next several hours. And again, power outages are starting to be reported down in that region, certainly throughout the state of Virginia and that kind of a threat will increase over the next few hours as one moves to the north and east. Well, here's a look at the 500 millibar analysis. These pages, by the way, from the NOAA Mesoscale Analysis branch, and this is the 500 millibar upper level low. We talked about this extensively over the past couple of days. This is an important feature, basically because areas to the north, right underneath or to the north of the track of this upper level low, have the best chances for snow, and indeed that's what's happening here. The best chances for the colder air and a strong upward motion just on the north side of that upper level feature. And again, we're talking about snow right now breaking out of the New York City metro region, and as that low pressure is forced to the south, the colder air will push to the south, and I believe there will be some snow all the way down to the Philadelphia metro region, all the way to the coast, by the way, and throughout the state of New Jersey. There should be snow later today going into tonight. And again, in this entire area, including all the way down to the coastline, a few inches of wind-whipped snow possible later today going into early tonight. And of course, visibility will be poor during any kind of a snowfall with those strong winds. So again, this is the current location of that upper level low, an important feature for trying to pinpoint best chances for snow over the next several hours. Well, here's a look at the current radar loop from AccuWeather.com, and the color scheme is important here. Snow shown in blue, and a mixture of sleet shows up in purple. And again, the last couple of frames here, snow has broken out upstate New Jersey, in and around the New York City metro region, some big flakes, and this again will be a heavy wet snow that occurs. Could go back and forth too, between the snow and the sleet and the rain, back and forth over the next few hours. A lot of this depends on the elevation and also the dynamics. In areas of the strongest upward motion, basically in areas with the heaviest precip, you have the best chance of snow, because that'll act to cool the environment. And again, this will tend to spread southward over the next few hours as that low pressure system off the coast moves to the south. And areas first in the east central part of Pennsylvania, central New Jersey will change over to sleet and snow, and then all the way down into the Philly metro region and southern New Jersey, it can expect to see some sleet and snow later today. And again, this will extend all the way, I believe, to the coast, all the way down to the coast. There can be, of New Jersey, there can be some accumulating snow later on today. So again, right now, snowflakes breaking out in the New York City metro region. All of this will tend to drop to the south. Down in D.C., again, kind of a mixture of some snow, sleet, and rain, not heavy. The biggest factor there will be the winds, and again, extreme winds down there, perhaps wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour or so, 60 mile per hour wind gusts possible in and around Philadelphia, New York City, New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, again, primarily focused on the midday and afternoon hours up north of the Mason-Dixon line. Well, let's walk through the 6Z version of the highest resolution NAM model, the 3-kilometer version. Again, I've talked about how I believe the higher resolution models have a little better handle on things for this particular situation, given the fact that there's very subtle, very mesoscale events going on here. The dynamics are crucial here, and I'm focusing in on these higher resolution models like the 3-kilometer version of the NAM. First of all, at the current time, that low pressure off the mid-Atlantic coastline, again, it'll try to push to the north, running to the brick wall, and be forced down to the south. As it treks to the south later on today, the colder air will also drop to the south. Some snow already being reported in and around New York City. I believe that'll expand southward. Changeover will occur from north to south. Later today, Philadelphia metro region, southern New Jersey can expect some snow. And again, in all these areas, Philadelphia, New York City, all of New Jersey, a few inches of heavy wet snow possible. Sleet will certainly mix in at times. Some snow right now in and around D.C., but again, that will not be a big part of the storm down there. Maybe a coating on some areas on the grassy surfaces, but the extreme winds, the biggest factor in D.C. Let's move ahead in hourly increments. Keep an eye on this low here. It's now starting to loop back around. We've talked about the looping process because of that high latitude blocking. A very important factor here, that high latitude blocking. Notice lots of blues now showing up, snow, all the way down to the Philly metro region, down into southern New Jersey, and that will just continue to slowly spread to the south as this storm is forced to the south over the next several hours. And there you go, it continues with the strong pressure gradient, the tight pressure gradient. This is now by early tonight. Again, very strong winds all day today. The worst of the winds in D.C. right now, this morning into the early afternoon. The worst of the winds in Philly, New York City, New Jersey, probably midday and afternoon into the early evening. Continue to move forward here, and by later tonight, the precipitation winds down, but the strong winds will continue as that low drives to the south and east in that unusual fashion. It will not be able to go in a typical nor'easter fashion, north and east, up along the main coastline because of that blocking. It's forced to the south. The winds could continue to be strong into the early part of Saturday. Later Saturday, certainly there'll be some lessening of those winds in the I-95 corridor. So a lot going on. Extreme wind event throughout the I-95 corridor. Numerous power outages expected. Wind whip snow, quite a good possibility in and around Philadelphia, New York City, New Jersey later today. And again, a few inches of accumulation possible in those particular areas. Little or no accumulation expected in and around D.C., but down there certainly they may have the worst of it in terms of the winds. Perhaps 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the D.C. metro region, up to 60 mile per hour in Philadelphia, New York City, New Jersey, maybe even a little bit higher at the coastline. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.